Today is Thursday, November 14th. Welcome to my daily review. You're looking at a daily chart of the Nasdaq, which sold off again today, a little more thrust to the downside here. And you can see the volume increasing here the last three sessions. Quite a bit of distribution on the Nasdaq, which is to be expected after, a big move. We go up a lot and then trade sideways, and it's fine. But it was down 123 points today, or 0.64%. You can see the volume 44% above average, the 50-day average volume. So, quite a bit of selling here today, something that shouldn't be surprising after the big move. We came straight up off these lows here, 18,000 up to, I don't know, what was it, 19,343, 358. Okay, 366. So, it's trading sideways. And today we finally got our first real good thrust down, but still for the week, it's only down, 0.93. We'll call it 1%. After a 5-something% move last week, yeah, five and three quarter move up, we give one back. That's okay. I'll take 5 to 1 every time. But I think this is healthy action, even though the distribution is pretty heavy. But the gains were heavy too. So just take a look at the Nasdaq here, 1.9% above the 21. It's above the 10 and 4.8% above the 50. So this is healthy, still in a power trend, but it's just at this move, from the lows from the day of the election or the day before the election. It was what was it? What did I say? 18,083, yeah. And it ran up to 19, 366. So yeah, it's a big move, consolidating gains. It's to be expected. It's normal. It's healthy. If you're sitting in stocks though that have been run up a lot, well, that's what they're taking profits from. Why? Because profits are there. If you see stocks that are been up a lot, in 2024 and a lot recently. Well, they're giving some back here. I talked about this reversal bar yesterday in MicroStrategy, and the Bitcoin was getting a little out of control. A lot of retail folks piling in. And this is what happens when you chase stuff. So anyway, I'm just going off track here. I'm just trying to make a point that stuff that's been up a lot recently, they're giving some back, and that's to be expected. I'm going to talk about that one a little later. A lab, big move now coming back to the 10. So that's common. Anyway, I'm getting off track here. I want to go back to the Nasdaq. Yeah. Um, Once again, healthy above the 21, 1.9% above the 21. SPY, you're seeing similar action here, holding up 3.2% above the 50, 1.3% above the 21. So this is healthy action, just digesting gains. The IWM, eh, this index is getting tailwinds from the lower interest rates, but now there's discussion. Well, maybe they're not going to lower them so much, and maybe we're in a pause, and so this gets hit on stuff like that. So anyway, the more risk you have, the more benefit from lower rates. So I don't know. The smaller cap index is a higher risk, so it got hit, with maybe a pause in interest rates. Anyway, it's all very speculative. The Dow Jones pullback slightly. It's still, 1.6 above the 21, 3.3 above. Okay, the 50. Right. Let's move. Let's go to Tesla because Tesla was one of the stocks that really, you know, gained a lot, off the lows here the day, it was the day before the election. Yeah, 238 the day before the election to what, 358 or something on, let me get the right date here, the 11th. Okay, which is Monday. Made a high of 358. So 238 to 358, 120-point move. I would suspect like a 50% retracement of that move, the 120 points. You give 60 back. Coincides with its 10, right? Right there around 300, 303. That would stand to reason, I would guess. Two steps up, one step back, so a 120 point move, you give 60 back. That's kind of normal. If you're, swing trader, you gotta sell some there. as makes these lower bars, fills the gap. It's got another gap here, so you got to be careful. There's no guarantee that it's going to find support at the 10. It might slice right through that and come to the 21 even. So, yeah, if I'm a trader, if I own Tesla, I would have sold that. I don't like it getting back in the gap zone. You guys know that. All right. Anyway, let me see. Oh, NVIDIA earnings next week. Big player. They were at a conference, but nothing's going to move this stock. I was watching it today, and gapped higher in the morning. Didn't gap higher. It went higher, traded higher in the morning, and then just sold off the rest of the day. It's just not going to go anywhere until that new data point is out. I do like the action though, nice tight action. It's not like it's really wild. It's not wide and loose trading here. It's really tight trading. This is very healthy. I think they're going to have a strong report. I don't know what the reaction will be, but it could, make a nice move next week. Anyway, we'll see what the implied volatility is as we head into the new data point next week. Anyway, Meta, another one that's trading tight. This is not wide and loose. It's really tight within the base, near its moving averages. It just won't move. It's like NVIDIA. I like this setup a lot, but it's just not moving. So, it doesn't, it's going to move when it wants to, not when we want it to. So if you're bought that one and you're holding and you're trying to be patient, it looks good to me, a little wedge pattern within the base, trading tight. Meta looks good, but I don't know. I mean, we had a big rally last week and a big sell-off this week. Not a big sell-off. We gave up 1% this week, and this one just trading tight. So kind of healthy action, I think. So those are the three of the Mag 7 that I'm going to go through. I'm not really interested in the rest of them. Cisco, they reported last night. It was a pretty good report, but pull back to its 10, no big deal. It still looks good. If you look in the weekly on this one, yeah, just a stage one base here. It's consolidating. Yeah, it looks pretty decent here after that move higher. Last week it had that big move, like most stocks. DLO, this is a Brazilian finance credit card payment stock. Oops, did I say Brazil? Uruguay, which my friend is from Uruguay, a professional golfer. She's fantastic. Very nice person. Stays here when she plays in tournaments. Anyway, this one was up 12%. Yeah, after its earnings report last night, you could see the growth on the sales are starting to accelerate. 6, 13. The stock that I'm not interested in. Just acknowledging a move on earnings. That's all. Up with volume. Beezer, man, this is bad action. Ooh, closed at 6% of its daily range. Had an earnings report. Once again, the yields are going to get these home builders. You can see it spike in the morning. 5 minutes in, it's at 38, closes the day at 34.63. Yeah, it's kind of rough session, even though it was higher in the session, 8%? You close at the low of the range. So anyway, near that buy point though of 34.89. So if you're interested in a home builder, I think they're pretty risky right now with the current environment. CAPR, this is therapeutics. They reported last night, and it's just like typical biotech, losing more money quarter after quarter, but they have a promising pipeline. So what is it, 830 million market cap. They do have, I think I listened to their conference call for a bit, and they said 120 or 170 million in cash. They have quite a decent amount of cash for their market cap, but anyway, I think they're more of a bring a drug to market type of stock, and that's a long ways off. Very, very speculative. Something that's not speculative is Walt Disney. Walt Disney, when we were kids growing up, Disney was everything, and now it's looked a little differently. But Iger's running the show. You can see a stage one base here. It could not break out. Now it's consolidating another base. So this thing has been basing since what, February of 2023. So it's going on 2 years of just nothing, like dead money. Of course, having a nice week this week, up 10%, but man, if you're sitting on this, you're just collecting the dividend. I don't know why I don't know why you'd hold that stock. I shouldn't say that because I know a lot of people who hold it, but it's just like a dead money stock. Oh wow. Talon, this one was up 220 in pre-market. What? The high was 217 today, then sold off. Man, that's not a good move. It still, I think, has that buy area around that 197, and it's just consolidating, pulled back to its 10 today. But yeah, some once again, it's been up a lot, right? So there's profits to be had, and profits are being taken. So nothing wrong with the sales and earnings growth. It's just time to take some profits. You don't have any profits until you sell and put it in your damn account. Otherwise, it's just at risk in the market, and anything can happen in the market. So people are taking profits. And this is AAP. They reported earnings, man. They were up a lot too and just kind of flattened out. Man, yeah, tough day for a lot of stocks today. This thing can't get out of its own way. Anyway, that's enough for that. I do have one thing to get to before I get to some groups, and that is Dr. No won another one, another victory. Berlina Khan at the FTC, she she nixed the Tapestry Capri deal, which is actually Coach and Kate Spade and trying to buy Michael Kors and Jimmy Choo. I guess that would be too much of a monopoly for handbags and shoes. You can't get them anywhere else, right? And, in her defense, the administration is really concerned with inflation and but my point is, if people don't want to pay the money for them, they won't. If they have the money, then they'll buy them. So I don't know. I could see both sides of it. It's kind of it was an $8 billion deal, so and it wasn't. I don't know. I'm a free market type of guy, so I think that they should just let the deal go through. And if people don't want to buy their handbags and shoes, they won't. Anyway, Tapestry said, and Capri also said that they're no longer even seeking a deal. It's over with. They're going to go individually. So Tapestry was up 12.8%, and then Capri on the news. It's just this is when the decision was made, and now the company's confirmed it. This is actually up 4% on the news that Tapestry is not, officially not going to pursue Capri. So anyway, that kind of tells you that I think Albertsons and Kroger are going to wait till next year. Same with Novo Nordisk and Catalent. They're probably stall and just drag their feet until there's a new administration, and then we'll see if they get a favorable ruling next year. Anyway, I'm going to move on because the only sector that was up today was the oil and gas group. I've been pointing these stocks out here recently, not once a week, not every week, but YPF is one that I like. This is one that Druckenmiller was in. I learned about that a few weeks ago. Yeah, this thing's rolling. So maybe we'll get a resurgence of oil and gas stocks, even though the commodity is way low. I think the WTI is around 68 right now. So maybe I think they're looking at lower demand in 2025, and the commodity itself is hurting. Enbridge, I believe this is a Canadian company. Yeah. And this is an oil and gas transportation pipeline. This thing made a new high today. So that looks pretty good. You can see the double bottom base pattern here, then a consolidation. Now it's just moving higher. And this is where you see it breaks out of a base, then it trades higher, then it has a 3 weeks tight area, and that's your add-on. So if you bought here at the breakout and you held it and didn't do anything wrong, had the 3 weeks tight, that's where you add on, and then it moves higher. I don't have any oil and gas stocks, but if you were playing that, you'd play the breakout. I would play the breakout and then wait for this 3 weeks tight and then add. Of course, it pulls back to the 50 and shakes everybody out, you know, typical. But yeah, that's how you play Enbridge and making a new 52-week high, not an all-time high, but a 52-week high today. So the other one I was looking at was OVV, up with volume here, still below the 200, but kind of a 6% move with volume, and kind of take note of that. Not a bad move there. Still sideways forever and a day, which I don't like. And the sector, the group is like 187 out of 197. So, and Chevron looks good here. Once again, doing this, this wedge pattern, wedge and pop. and then wedge and now pops. So we'll see if it get back above the 164.28 and then the 166.91. So it's got possibilities here. Chevron, once again, man, consolidating with a cup shape pattern now. This is a long, long, long time without doing anything. That is definitely a dividend. You just own it for the dividend. ExxonMobil, same thing. Just a long period of consolidation. These things just can't break out. They had a nice run in 2022, as you can see. And since this run, this big run during the bear market, it's just gone sideways here. While, the AI revolution and some of the other stocks that we look at every day are ripping higher. Anyway, good day for the oil and gas sector. Um, some of the biotech names that are performing well. This is a thinly traded biotech name, but man, you cannot deny the strength and the power, the big blue volume bar. Somebody's buying this thing. Um, BLTE IPO'd in 22 and now is doing really, really well. So just acknowledging strength there. I don't have any skin in that game or any dog in that fight. MIRM, another one of these biotech, making new highs, breaking out of this base here, the 45.23 level with some decent volume. Just pointing it out. Definitely don't have any skin in that game as well. The only one I do own is TGTX. And this is Tarsus Pharmaceuticals, another one making a new high today while the market's selling off. So just acknowledging strength. I mentioned TGTX. Now, yesterday there was a rumor that, what was it, AstraZeneca was going to buy them. And if you fall for that, you're due to get slammed. And it was down 11.5% because, it was just a rumor to shake the shorts out of there. And now it comes back. But overall, it's up 7% for the week. Having a good week, breaking out from that cup with, elongated handle pattern. TGTX looks pretty good. Big volume this week as well. All right, I got to get to hymns because hymns, this is what I tell you, I don't like fighting these big, this has got the weight loss component, the compound, that Novo Nordisk was saying it is very dangerous, and some people have died from using these compounds. You got to get the real stuff from Lilly or Novo. But this one sold off today because Amazon is selling hair loss. Yeah, hair loss drugs is available on Amazon. So this one gets slammed. You just don't want to fight Amazon, Lilly, and Novo. It was down only 25% today. Some people buying it after hours maybe, but man, that's a rough go. Like I said, these little guys in the drug, it's been my experience. It's just tough. It's tough to fight them. Obviously, it has the great sales, and earnings growth that the fundamentals that people like, and it could be a good trade for the short term, but I just don't see it longer term being able to, compete with those. Maybe it'll get bought out, but we'll see. Anyway, Amazon's hair loss. And today, some of these got hammered. This is Moderna, and you can see, maybe I'll go to a 1 minute chart. You can see a little better. This is when RFK was announced ahead of HHS. The vaccine stock sold off sharply, like, we don't want any part of this. And BNTX as well. And of course, Pfizer, is one of the vaccine. Yeah, as soon as RFK was announced, these things just sold off. So, yeah, it's part of the stock market. Pfizer's done pretty terrible on its own without the help of RFK. Anyway, I want to move on. App, another one of these names that I talked about where it's, big gap up, trading sideways. Today it went over 300. So I could imagine a lot of retail folks piling in like, okay, it's going through 300. Was it half an hour in? I was out golfing this morning. I saw it like over 300. I said, nice. But of course, what happens? It sells right off, and it was still up on the session, 50 cents, not bad, but rejection at the 300, I would imagine it's going to take another swing at the 300 at some point, but still, it's 15% above its 10 EMA. There's no way you can be buying this thing that far above its 10. Let me go. I think I put the 5 on it yesterday. It should be near the 5. So maybe that's where it bounced from, some technical traders. It's still way above the 5, 4% above the 5. That's pretty rough. But these software names, a lot of these, Palantir, they've had big moves just trading sideways. Here's Palantir trading down to its 5, and it still closed a point above the 5, even though it was down 2.5% up after hours. There's a lot of these 10Ks coming out today, and people, want to jump on whatever, Druckenmiller or, Tepper or Buffett are buying, and I think that's a silly way to play. Although I'm the one who likes to follow institutions. These are, trades from 3 months ago, so you don't know when they bought them. They could have already sold them by now. No, no, they didn't sell them by now. It's on the third. It's on the form that was filed. And I'm going to get to that because Buffett did buy a couple things and he's been hoarding cash, but I'll get to that a little later. A ZETA, a short seller came out and said that they had some, malpractice with their websites, there's shenanigans, shady numbers. You don't want any part of any of that ever. So this is definitely radioactive, definitely have to avoid. It's only down 51% this week. Man, that's it happens fast, right? This thing was ramping last week, reported earnings. The short report came out, and the short report doesn't have to be accurate or not. They could have loaded up on shorts and then came out with this story and it fell and they made their money. They could be out by now. And then it turns out that, there was nothing to it, but hey, they cashed out already. So if you're a short seller, all you have to do is provide a little bit of fear and uncertainty, right? And that's what they do and with that report. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm not going to hold that stock and try to find out. That is a no-go. Radioactive, adios, muchachos, and everything else. Spotify reported yesterday or the day before, no, Tuesday night, and then rallied Wednesday up 11 something percent, and then tacked on 2% today while the Nasdaq was super weak. And just you see the big volume coming in for Spotify. No give back in this guy. Up, yeah, nearly 20% this week. It's a hell of a move. Great company. And I think it's, one of those long term. But once again, it's up so much, this thing's bound to run out of gas and come back a little bit. It's still 7.7% above its 5. So yeah, a little room for give back there, if we've seen with a lot of stocks. And then TOST, this is one of the finance credit card payment stocks, making new highs today, ramping following earnings. Yeah, very strong name. So good for Toast. I've seen a lot of those recently. All right, I'm going to move on to the medical device groups because these have been performing well. This is Intuitive Surgical, just starting to do the Kelly Slater on that 5 right there, and strong stocks and strong markets will get support at the 5 EMA, and that's what Intuitive Surgical is doing. SYK Striker, these are like the knee replacement, hip replacement. They're body part company. Made a new high today and then reversed back to the 5. So we'll see if it gets support at the 5. Up 5% after hours. Something going on after hours. I don't know. I'm gonna have to check these. These every 3 months these forms come out, right, and we see what the big whales are buying or selling. Lantheus crashed below the 50, now below the 200. That looks terrible. I don't know why I even put that on there. All right, the miners. Um, a lot of them looked at like this. The miners have sold off and right below their 50. So I'm looking for them to rally back through. This is a GATO's silver. And I don't know. I would just think because we've seen a lot of this recently where stocks pull back and then rally back through. They undercut their 50, then rally back. So we'll see if the miners will do that. I wouldn't give up on that just because it's below the 50 right now. I mean, I don't own it, but I think it might be a good time to buy it. This is a Mag Silver, another, same thing. Even though we had that rally last week, post-election, this thing's just below its 50. Yeah. Yeah, no, just hanging on there. I don't know. I'm thinking these things are going to bounce just the way they look to me. Just my humble opinion. Same thing. Pan American Silver, you can see that in a little pull back to the 50, under the 50 here. And I'm looking for them to rally through the 50. I think that's a move that is quite possible. AEM, this one's a little too far below the 50 here, but anyway, up with volume today. 2% move with 62% above average daily volume. So anyway, that's it for the miners. I got to go to the cybersecurity stocks. Some of them are looking pretty good to me. CyberArk Software, they reported Sunday this week. Was it yesterday or the day before? I don't know. I'm getting confused. Anyway, inside day today, 3% move, not bad while the Nasdaq sold off. And then CrowdStrike, I'm kind of liking CrowdStrike here. Just go to a weekly chart. Yeah. Sold off, came through, and now it's just kind of like, yeah, pull back today, still above the five. If that thing wants to surf the five to higher prices, I'm all in on that. Anyway, here was the break right here, the gap lower, and now back above that level. And I want to get an actual price on that. 316.75. So it's quite above that area. But if this thing wants to surf the five, I'm all for it. I don't own it now, but I do like the stock and the company. This is a Palo Alto Networks. Once again, got to look at the weeklies here. Yeah, consolidating in a base. It's up slightly this week, while the Nasdaq I just showed you was down 1%. This is up nearly 1%. So showing relative strength. Lighter volume move. Earnings next week, the same day as NVIDIA, which will definitely move the market. All right. Some of the defense names, some that I don't own or anything, but this is LOAR, an IPO that's had a nice run, institutional due diligence here, then the advanced phase. Just pulled back the last couple of sessions and now bounced today. And it's 4.5% above its 50 now. So nice bounce off that 50. Another one is HEI. I know this one made a new high today. Yeah, broke out of a base. That looks pretty good. And then GE, which sold off recently under the 50, trying to rally back above, and now playing teeter-totter with the 50. It was up, it was down, it was up, it was down. So yeah. Helmet is another one that I like in this group, and this one's um, surfing its 5 EMA as well. So anyway, enough with that. I do want to show, I'm still sticking with my boomer thesis that they're spending money and they're whining and dining and flying all over the place. Delta Airlines making new highs. I mean, the proof's in the pudding. The chart tells all. And this one is Alaska Airline. This one's 2.2% above its five. So if that wants to surf the five, well, I'm all for it. United Airlines, man, these things are just, yeah. I mean, I think the boomers are spending their kids' inheritance. And the chart's telling me so. It's confirming my thesis. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Kind of a drag day today. Remember, tomorrow's ChopX Friday where the options expire. And, usually get some choppy action around this time. That's what we got the last couple of days. I think it's healthy. Look forward to next week. I think we'll, regain our footing. But anyway, a lot of stuff is extended, so not trading much, kind of holding on to what I have. All right. In honor of the great Steve Jobs, I do have one more thing, and that is tonight's earnings. Um, oh man, Applied Materials down four. Well, I saw that they had beat on the top and bottom line. They must have guided like down 4%. So that doesn't look good. Up $3 today, given nine back after hours. We'll see what happens with it tomorrow. You can see it's just consolidating within a base below its moving averages. There's no way that this is anywhere near appetizing at all. ASTS, this is the highly speculative name, and that's what happens. They're not making much money. No, they're not making any money. What the hell am I talking about? They're losing money and probably losing less money quarter after quarter, but still you can see, $1.06 of earnings this year, and they're going to lose 70 next year. So highly speculative, and I didn't look at the report. Yeah, down 10%. So. Um, OKLO. This is the Peter Thiel nuclear play, the SPAC. And this actually looked pretty good going into earnings here, but down 10% following its report. I did not see what they had to say. Post, the Post cereal, grape nuts, Pebbles. Come on, who doesn't like Pebbles? Up 1% after hours. I did not hear the or see the report at all. And a couple things I noticed after hours that David Tepper filed his 13F form, and it was all sales. He wasn't buying anything. He's selling a lot of stuff. So beware out there. Also, Warren Buffett's hoarding cash like nobody's business, but it did report that he had bought a little bit of Domino's. So maybe he knows that the boomers are going out and whining and dining and buying Domino's pizza, which is also, kind of like the I'm not going to get into restaurant plays, although maybe I should. Since Buffett's buying Domino's, Cava is one of the big leaders. It sold off following its earnings report yesterday. I mean, initially it went up, you could see, and then it just sold off all day, then sold off again today. That's not a good sign. It's a very expensive stock, though, so it's understandable. And all it did was pull back to its 21 today and closed right at the 21. But I mean, if you own it as 172 yesterday and it closed at 138 today, that kind of stinks. Because you're thinking to yourself, why didn't I sell it at 170 when it spiked like that? I'm still holding on to it, $30 lower. Anyway, that's part of the market. Oh, and the other one Buffett bought was Pool, which, I don't know. The swimming pools, backyard swimming pools, I don't know. Operates 439 pool equipment supply in North and South America, Europe. Plans to open 10 more. Buffett bought. Now it's up, nearly 6% after hours. So people like to buy what Buffett buys, and that's just the way it goes in the market. Thank you for watching. Tomorrow's another day. Like I say, OPEX, kind of kind of a quiet, choppy period here as we give some back. After the big gains, we give some back. So that's happening in your portfolio, then that's yeah, if you're the type of trader like I am, I hate giving stuff back. So I'd rather kind of sell and get out and pick another time. But the Nasdaq is still looking healthy. Same stocks, I own the same stocks. I just trim, and then when it gets a little better, we step on the gas. Anyway. You can't complain about the index being 1.9% above the 21, 4.8% above the 50. So it looks pretty healthy. That's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never, ever give up. Thank you for watching.